Lestrade's arrival brought news so shocking and unexpected that it left Holmes, Watson, and Gregson utterly stunned. Gregson jumped to his feet in alarm, spilling his whiskey and water in the process, while Watson turned his gaze to Holmes, whose expression showed intense focus, his lips tightly pressed and his brows furrowed. Holmes murmured, "Stangerson too." The plot thickens, while Lestrade, sitting down with an air of resignation, remarked that the case had already been complicated enough. Gregson, visibly shaken, stammered as he sought confirmation from Lestrade, who assured them that he had just come from the scene and been the first to witness the grim discovery. Holmes, eager to hear the details, invited Lestrade to recount his findings. Lestrade began by confessing that his earlier belief in Stangerson's involvement in Drebber's murder had been entirely wrong. Instead, he set out to trace Stangerson's whereabouts following Drebber's death. His investigation led him to Halliday's private hotel in Little George Street, where he arrived early that morning. The hotel staff confirmed that Stangerson had been staying there, awaiting a visitor. When Lestrade asked to see him, he was informed that Stangerson was upstairs in bed and had requested to be woken at 9. Accompanied by the hotel's boots, Lestrade made his way to Stangerson's second-floor room. As they approached the door, a chilling sight greeted them. A thin ribbon of blood was seeping out from under the door and pooling along the corridor. Alarmed, Lestrade and the boots forced the door open, revealing a horrifying scene. Stangerson's lifeless body lay near the open window, clad in his nightdress. A deep stab, wound to the left side, piercing the heart, had ended his life. Above the body, scrawled in blood on the wall, was the word Reich. Holmes confirmed the chilling detail with quiet certainty, and the room fell into a heavy silence as the weight of the discovery sank in it. Lestrade continued his account, describing how a milk boy had seen a man descending a ladder from the second-floor window earlier that morning. The boy described the man as tall, with a reddish face, and wearing a long brownish coat. The murderer had evidently lingered in the room long enough to clean his weapon and hands, leaving behind blood-stained water in the basin and marks on the sheet. Despite these clues, Lestrade admitted that nothing in the room offered a direct lead to the killer. Among Stangerson's belongings, however, was a small box containing 2 pills, which Lestrade had taken along with other items for safekeeping. Holmes's interest ignited at the mention of the pills. He eagerly requested them from Lestrade, declaring that they might hold the key to solving the case. With the pills in hand, Holmes proposed an experiment and asked Watson to retrieve a dying terrier from downstairs. Holmes carefully dissolved one of the pills in water with milk and offered it to the dog. To everyone's surprise, the pill appeared to have no effect. As the minutes passed, Holmes's frustration grew, and his pacing and tense demeanor betrayed his inner turmoil. Suddenly, a realization struck him. He dissolved the second pill and repeated the test. This time the dog's reaction was immediate and fatal. Holmes explained that one pill was harmless, while the other was a deadly poison, a calculated design by the murderer. With his deductions confirmed, Holmes elaborated on how these peculiar details had guided his reasoning. Far from complicating the case, the strange elements had clarified the sequence of events and motives. Gregson and Lestrade, growing impatient, pressed Holmes to name the murderer. Holmes, however, emphasized the need for discretion, warning that premature action could alert the suspect and jeopardize their ability to apprehend him. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Wiggins, the leader of Holmes's street urchin informants, who announced that a cab was waiting downstairs. Holmes, appearing to prepare for travel, fetched a pair of handcuffs and began strapping a portmanteau. When the cabman entered to assist, Holmes swiftly snapped the handcuffs onto him, revealing the man as Jefferson Hope, the murderer of Drebber and Stangerson. The room erupted into chaos as Hope, a man of tremendous strength and desperation, violently resisted. In a frenzied attempt to escape, he hurled himself through the window, shattering the glass and woodwork. Holmes, Gregson, Lestrade, and Watson all sprang into action, ultimately dragging him back into the room after a fierce struggle. Hope's convulsive strength made subduing him a grueling task, but they finally managed to pinion his hands and feet. With the murderer securely restrained, Holmes, calm and composed, declared the mystery solved. He invited his companions to ask any lingering questions, his confidence unshaken now that Jefferson Hope was firmly in their custody.